It's time to focus on the things you need, the things you deserve. You deserve a healthy body, supplements that get you moving and keep you moving, that make you feel good, look good, do good. And they shouldn't contain GMOs, artificial ingredients, or heavy metals, ever. Supplements that are clinically studied, use proven absorption technologies, are designed by scientists, and are ethically sourced and produced. Supplements with everything you need, nothing you don't. You deserve a company that you can trust, that's dedicated to safe manufacturing practices and third-party testing, that ensures the highest quality of effectiveness from extraction of ingredients all the way to the composition of the packaging. Wait a second. You deserve to see the process. You deserve a company led by a CEO with a deep belief in the power of people, dedicated to inspiring entrepreneurs to achieve success. A company with a phytonutrient chemist and expert on natural molecules who is obsessed with human health and has your best interest in mind to design its products. A board comprised of talented doctors from around the world. You deserve to be surrounded by people you trust and look up to. Empowered ambassadors that inspire wellness every day. Leaders who are rooting for you to be the best version of yourself. A community that works hard and plays hard. You deserve to experience adventures that take you around the world, and you deserve to be recognized for your hard work. It's time to get what you deserve. It's time to shift your focus. 3.
Welcome everyone from sunny Florida. I'm actually from Houston, Texas, but I'm coming to you from Rosemary Beach, Florida. And isn't this a wonderful business where we can actually be on vacation and, work from wherever we want? That's what's been so awesome about being in this business. So I just have to tell you, this is going to be a little bit different tonight. Every week here, we do talk to a healthcare professional who gives us kind of, the why are they here? Why did they decide to come to 3? And it's really amazing, right? But tonight we have kind of a special edition, and we're going to hear directly from our Chief Scientific Officer, Dr. Dan Gubler. And he's really the mastermind behind the formulations that we have here at 3, these cutting edge products. And, from my perspective, I'm a scientist as well. And I also have, I have a PhD, and I have been in the pharmaceutical industry for my entire career, and that's 30 years or so. And my job has really been to take compounds and bring them forth from just a petri dish, all the way to FDA approval. So I know the scientific rigor that it takes to make really good products. And when I said yes to 3, it was because I had total confidence that this company was committed to being that kind of a company that was a scientifically rigorous company that has really that commitment to science. And I think that's what you're going to see with Dr. Dan Gubler. He has that passion for science, just as I do. And I know a lot of the healthcare professionals that are involved with us do as well. So we are very lucky to have Dr. Dan Gubler at the helm, directing this scientific endeavor for us. He's a world-renowned formulator. He's a natural product expert with really a deep passion, like I said, for not only science, but for helping people live longer, healthier lives. And, he's traveled the globe, and he's studying, the most effective healing plants. And he's really brought that knowledge to 3 and into these groundbreaking formulations that we have here. And so help me welcome the brilliant Dr. Dan Gubler, And we're so excited to have you here today, Dr. Dan.
Hello, Dr. Linda. Good evening,
Hi.
everyone. So great to be with you.
Yeah, and tonight we're going to talk a little bit about longevity. I mean, we hear that word thrown around, longevity. What is that? It's important to all of us, I believe, but it's not only about living longer, we want to live healthier too, right? So, and I think what I really, what comes to mind, and I know people have asked me that, like, what is cellular aging? What does that mean? What is cellular aging, and how can we even think about preventing, or slowing or affecting or addressing, cellular aging?
Aging is just such an interesting thing. We can't escape it.
Yeah,
The instant, the second we're born, we're destined to die, right? We're
yeah,
just on this path of destruction. We're on this journey where the cells actually get older. They don't divide as readily. Some of the reactions, the processes in the cell don't happen as they should. The cadence, kind of the method, the beat of
yeah,
the cells, right? The cells have a heartbeat to them, right? It's like a rhythm of music or whatnot, the symphony that slows down. And we
yeah.
don't know exactly why. There's many different theories of why we age, and I'm sure we'll talk about those. And I think that most of the theories we talk about play a role in why we age. It's multifactorial, but the bottom line is the body ages, it grows old,
Hmm.
it decays, and then we die. And
Yeah,
there's two interesting things as I was thinking about this, and we talked a little bit about it before we officially came on. And I think it's good for all of us on this call to understand there's a couple different definitions. The first is lifespan, right? That's how long we're going to live, right? I'm going to die at 92. I want to live to 105, by the way. And
me
then
too.
health span, right? And the health span kind of refers to the quality of life that we have in the years that we live. So those are important to understand.
Right. And I think you made a very good point because just here, as I've been, running around the beach with the kids and everything, we have to haul all of this stuff to the beach, right? Pack the whole burly bicycle and all the strollers. And, I'm here with three of my five grandchildren. They're two, 19 months, and then an infant. And we bring her to the beach. It's just amazing what my kids will do. And, packing up yesterday from the beach, it's like, Mom, here, you take him and I'll take all this. And so I'm with the 35-pound 2-year-old and I'm climbing up these steps, all the way up from the beach. If you've ever been to this kind of beach, it's kind of like a very, very long climb up to up those stairs,
Wow.
to the road. So as I'm doing it, I'm thinking, how lucky am I to be able to do this at my age? And some aren't so lucky, right? So is it luck? Is it the way I've taken care of myself? How much does genetics play? And how much does what we do in our everyday life and our lifestyle play a role in us being able to do stuff like that as we get older?
Yeah, it's a fascinating question, and this is something that scientists are studying. There's a lot of scientists at the top universities in the country and around the world that this is what they do. I have a good friend that's at the University of Cambridge, and this is what he does. His lab, they study the aging process, and it's clear that genetics plays a role, but it's also clear that when you look at the papers that are coming out, the scientific literature, that there are small molecules from plants, from nature that are really good at helping to support the aging process. Of course, the first one that we know that comes to mind is resveratrol. And there's
Right.
papers that have been coming out, and it seems like clockwork every 3 or 4 years. The news article is regenerated that drinking a glass of red wine is good for you and it can help you to age better and whatnot. And the reason why they're saying that is because of resveratrol. So resveratrol is a powerful molecule, but there's also really cool molecules that are in our formulas that can help with the aging process. I'm thinking, delphinidin and malvidin and rutin and just these crazy molecules that
Right.
maybe no one's heard of, but I geek out on that. I love that. And these molecules are also really good to help the aging process to function more smoothly and, dare I say, to actually slow down the aging process.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's important, not just for folks my age or who are approaching, grandparent status, but also for younger people, right? So, those that are maybe you're traveling for work and it takes a lot out of you, right, to travel for work or maybe, that you're on the racquetball or pickup basketball game or whatever it is that that you have to do. I mean, I have to tell you, my kids were exhausted after a day at the beach and I wasn't really that, and it's hot here too. So, and I know I'm very, very, very focused on taking care of my health. And I just wonder if that has something to do with it. But the younger folks are concerned about that too, right? They want to, it's funny when I look at the kids and I look at these kids that are growing and changing and I'm saying new words every day. And then you think about what's going on in their brain and their cells, versus what we just talked about. And you wish you could grab a little piece of that, don't you? Because they're rejuvenating and everything just all the time. So, and I just wonder, maybe we should just go through the products. You mentioned resveratrol. Let's talk about Eternal, which we know has, a high amount of resveratrol. And what makes it different from other resveratrol that you might see in other products on the market, and a little bit about absorption, right, with Eternal.
Yeah, so it's really interesting when we talk about the aging process, we need to talk about the theories behind aging. And
Yeah.
there's, like we mentioned before, there's a lot of different theories. And one theory that's front and center when it comes to aging, why do we age, is what's called the oxidative stress theory. And that theory is the premise of that theory is the body is constantly swamped by pro-oxidants, things that will cause oxidation in the body. And when we think about oxidation, I like to think of rust, where something rusts, right? So when you look at a nail, or if you have this old shack out in your yard, the humidity, the rain, over time, that structure, that nail will rust. And why is that happening? Well, it's because the iron in that nail is oxidizing. So it turns from this brilliant, shiny, steel type like color to this dull red color that actually becomes powdery and it flakes off. That's oxidation. And while our body isn't made of iron, our body is made of organic molecules. And these molecules are also prone to oxidizing. And so where we don't physically rust out, what happens is is a lot of oxidation, free radicals, and different oxidative molecules can build up in the body that can actually cause the body to age more quickly. And so one of the theories for aging is that the body just rusts out through this oxidative stress theory. And we talked about resveratrol, and there's other polyphenols, the superfruits. The many different superfruits that are in Eternal are packed full of antioxidants. Antioxidants meaning they slow down oxidative stress. And so this formula is powerful. It's packed full of these antioxidants. But as you said, Dr. Linda, well said, that these molecules, they don't mean a hill of beans if you don't have, if they're not absorbed into the body. And so what we've done is we've taken resveratrol and these other molecules, we've put them into small bubble-like structures called liposomes that are able to pass through the cell membrane. We also have a few other different crazy absorption technologies, polyphenol complexation and other things like that, micelles, that we won't talk about in detail here. But the bottom line is we have 3 to 4 different cellular absorption technologies in all of our products that ensure these molecules, these antioxidants in Eternal, in this case, can get into the cell so that they can do their job and slow the aging process.
Yeah, and I think that's the true differentiator, right? That absorption technology. That's what it's all about. Because you can talk about a wonderful thing like resveratrol, but if it doesn't get in there, it can't work, right?
That's
So
right.
so that's wonderful. And then we also have of course, our other products. What about Vitalite? Let's go there and see, kind of tell us a little bit about in that that is tied to health span?
So Vitalite gives the body everything it needs for proper function. You think about it, the body every minute and really every second, it performs millions of reactions. We call these chemical reactions, and that's okay. Chemical is not a bad word, right? Between you and me. I mean, everything's a chemical. So there's obviously good chemicals and there's bad chemicals. In this case, the body performs millions of good chemical reactions every single second that keep the body functioning properly. You think of that fine-tuned sports car, right? If you're into F1 or NASCAR or whatnot, you have these amazing machines, right? That have thousands of horsepower and, are meant to go 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. And they go around the track, for hundreds of times and they perform well. Well, the body's meant to do that. But if the body doesn't have the nutrients that it needs, then it can't do that at the same high level. And so this product, Vitalite, gives the probiotics, the prebiotics, the postbiotics, the enzymes, the vitamins, the minerals, the organic molecules, the phytonutrients, the chlorophyll, everything the body needs for proper function. And if the body doesn't have that, it doesn't perform to the same level. Now, it doesn't mean that, the body's going to just shut down the next day, but it does mean, as you mentioned, Dr. Linda, that health span can be negatively influenced. That we might not live as longer, but when it comes to health span, it's actually the quality of life that we live, right? I think we've all seen examples of people that live to 90, 95, and they're out doing things. They're active, right till the day that they pass. And there's other people that we know that unfortunately they're bedridden, right? And they have a low quality of life, sometimes unfortunately for many of years before they pass away. And so we want to make sure that we have good health span, that we have a high, powerful quality of life throughout our life, throughout the years that we have. And Vitalite, when we have all the nutrients, it can help us to do that.
Yeah. And that's so true. We all know folks that way, right? We're same age, but completely different function.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have to say that since we've been here, my son-in-law, he's just said, wow, my mom would love this. She would love this, but she couldn't make it up those stairs. She couldn't probably make the trip, even on the airplane or whatever. And he really thought that, he would have children and she would be able to. She ran a nursery at church, so loves children, and it's just really kind of sad, that she can't be more of a caregiver for the grandbabies. So and we want to have that best health span that we can, and living longer, but like you said, bedridden or something like that. No, I don't want to be 105 like that, right? So
Right.
right. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about another product, collagen, and how that might play into this.
Now, when we think of our products here at 3 that can help with aging and our anti-aging, I think a lot of us think of collagen. That's one of the first ones. And
Right.
rightfully so, because collagen is a protein and it's the most abundant protein in the body, right? And proteins, as we know, they help to keep the structure of the body. They help to make sure that the reactions of the body are functioning properly. Sometimes collagen can actually happen, it can actually work as an enzyme in the body that can make sure other reactions in the body function properly. And so collagen is really important. The problem, though, is that as we age, collagen production in the body starts to go down. So if the body doesn't have enough collagen, meaning the scaffolding of the body is not working properly, the skin starts to sag, the bone health starts to suffer, joint health is not as strong and vibrant as it is before. That means we can't move like we want to, and lack of movement can actually lead to a lot of negative consequences when it comes to health, and it can actually accelerate the aging process. And so when you take collagen, and it's important that it's not just any collagen. Our collagen is hydrolyzed, it's micronized. That means that it's absorbable in the body. Collagen's a big molecule. And if it's not broken down into its individual parts, what we call collagen peptides, then the body can't take it up. There's no uptake. And so this big collagen molecule is just sitting on the surface of the cell membrane. It's knocking on the door. It can't get in. And if it can't get in, the body then whisks it away. It breaks it down, and we have no collagen in the cell. And that's not a good process. And that's not a good situation for the body. And so when we take our highly bioavailable collagen, we also have other molecules in our collagen product like hyaluronic acid and keratin and vitamin C and polyphenols, and all of these beautiful ingredients help to make sure that collagen is actually produced in the body. Again, what's different from our product, as opposed to other collagen products, is our molecules actually recruit, it turns on the collagen production in the body, in the cells, so that now the body's it's making collagen. And when the body's making collagen and these collagen factories are humming again, that promotes not only lifespan, but especially health span.
Right. So important. And it is frustrating when I see some other collagen products on the market, and people, I know you probably get this too, where they ask you, well, what about this? Well, what about that? And
Yeah.
there's just really no evidence of the absorption of those molecules. If you don't do that absorption technology, and have good absorbable collagen, it's just a waste. And that's been a frustrating thing, I think, in my career, is watching the supplement world kind of just throw anything on a label and getting away. So that's just, again, this product is a real illustration of that scientific rigor that I really love. So anyway, we're going to go through each of these of our products. So I'm going to ask you about, let's do Purify. How about
Awesome.
Purify?
So when it comes to why we age, we've talked about the oxidative stress theory. We've talked about the nutrient deficiency theory. And another theory is the toxin theory, that as the body builds up toxins, and it's not like it's not like we're intentionally wanting toxins to get in our body, right? No one does
Right,
that.
no.
But in the world that we live in today, it's just unavoidable. You have pollution, you have stress, you have impure drinking water, you have toxins that are in the supply chain of the food that we eat. You have something that are called microplastics, which, if you haven't studied microplastics, those listening to our discussion, you really should, because microplastics, and especially now nanoplastics, the research on those pollutants and the negative impact that it has on health is actually really frightening. And this is actually good science that's coming out. It's not fear mongering or anything like that, but it's a big deal. And so toxins can build up in the body that can actually cause the body and the organs in the body over time to be reduced in their health span and to actually shut down eventually. And it's a shutdown of those organs that eventually happens that causes the body to pass away. And so Purify, with its powerful ability with the fulvic acid and the chlorophyllin and the other molecules that we have in this product, to actually remove toxins from the body, to make sure the elimination organs of the body, the colon, the liver, the kidney, the lungs, these organs that are responsible, they work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to remove toxins from the body, to make sure that these organs can function properly and powerfully to do their job. That's important. And so that's what Purify does, and that's what it was designed to do. And because of the powerful absorption technologies that are in this product, it's able to do that. And one thing about absorption technologies, a lot of companies will say, well, our products are absorbable, right? Who wouldn't? If you ask a company the question, are your products absorbed? They're not going to say no. Right. But when it comes to clinical data, they don't have it. And so one thing that we're really proud of here at 3 is we ran a clinical study, and it's called a KCO2 assay study, which, Dr. Linda, in your pharmaceutical career, you ran those studies all the time to figure out what we call ADMET properties, right? Absorption, distribution, metabolism, excretion, and toxicity, to make sure that these molecules are actually getting through the cell membrane. And so in this study that we've ran, we've shown that our products are anywhere from 3 to 9.5 times more absorbable than standard supplements. And that's a big deal.
Yeah, that's a huge piece, is the kind of commitment that we have to doing those trials. It's super impressive in this industry. So, and you know, with it really feels like with some of these toxins that we're exposed to, it's really out of our control. Like who
Yeah.
knew? Like we grew up microwaving plastic and everything else, and who knew, you know? And you feel almost deceived, right? And so this is a cool way to protect yourselves from that and from things that are out of our control that we're being exposed to, right, on a daily basis. So I don't miss my Purify tablet or capsule every day. So anyway, so then the next one logically is Revive.
So Revive helps to support a healthy inflammatory status in the body, as we all know. And why is that important? Well, it's much more than just being able to move and to not have pain, although that's super important, right? To be able to live without the pain that besets us is really important. But the reason why we have pain is because of something called chronic inflammation. Now, acute inflammation happens in the body, and that's a good thing. That's like the spark to light a fire so we can do things, so we can cook, when it's cold, if you do a beach fire at night, right, you huddle around the fire and you roast s'mores and you have a good time and that's all good. What the problem though is if we have chronic inflammation, that's when inflammation gets away into a runaway state. That's like going down a steep hill in your car and the brakes go out, right? You're pushing on the brakes and the brakes aren't working and the speed of the car is accelerating and it gets to this runaway state, which is dangerous and bad. And that's what happens with the body when you have chronic inflammation. And chronic inflammation is one of the biggest drivers of aging, the aging process. When the body is inflamed, aging accelerates tremendously. And that's called the inflammation theory of aging. And so with Revive, with its power to support a healthy inflammatory status in the body and to help with chronic inflammation, then that can improve and extend health span and help with lifespan in a really powerful way.
Yeah, so important. And this has been a real noticeable product, and especially I don't know. For me, I mean, I'm older, but I was a college athlete and I am used to working out like crazy. And then, as I started getting older, I noticed I was just so sore, could not even hardly, and, I even said something to my trainer. I said, is this like normal? Should I be this sore all the time? And he didn't really give me a great answer. It's like, you need to hydrate more or it's lactic acid. I just didn't get a great answer. And I just sort of accepted it. Like, I'm just gonna just have a tough time getting out of bed. And then I'm not kidding, once I started taking the Revive, it was, for me, not, the next day or anything, but in a couple of weeks, I just suddenly stopped and went, oh my gosh, I am not sore anymore. And it's been a game changer. This has been my true game changer. And it's been wonderful. And I hear those kinds of things from other folks all the time. So
Yeah.
love the Revive, and it's really great to know that rationale behind it and know that we are addressing that inflammation theory of aging.
Yeah.
And then let's talk a little about immune and how does immune really affect that aging process, or how does your immune system what does that have to do with aging of the cells?
So when we talk about products, it's funny that I usually talk about immune last. And I was
Yeah.
thinking about that the other day. And is that because I think it's less important, or as we talk in the company, we think it's less important? Well, no, and it shouldn't be. One of
Oh,
the reasons we talk about it last is because it's actually one of the most important. And
yeah.
you think about aging and the aging process, and then you think about the immune system and what it does, right? The immune system protects the body from outside threats. It helps to support both areas of the immune system. There's the innate immune system, kind of the baseline, the foundation of what the body's built with, kind of the cards that it was dealt, so to speak. And then there's the the adaptive immune system, the part of the immune system that is actively seeking out and neutralizing threats. And you think about it, if the immune system is not actively scouring the body and looking for these threats and neutralizing them, and these threats to the body just run rampant, then obviously that's going to damage human health more than really anything else. If the body can't be healthy, if it can't stay healthy, and it's constantly besieged by virus and bacteria and outside threats and pollutants and all these things that the immune system protects against, then we're not going to have a really good health span. And we're probably not going to have a good lifespan either.
Right.
So immune,
Yeah.
absolutely critical to take for function, because the immune system is much more than, oh, I'm feeling sick, so I'm going to take immune. I mean, the immune system is under attack. The body's under assault, a barrage all the time. And so to take this product all the time, every day, so we're aging gracefully, it's just a really powerful, and it's really an essential thing that we should be doing.
Right. And as we age, it seems like naturally the immune system is slowing down. It just seems that way. And some of the data does suggest that as well. So I think it's particularly important as we age to make sure we're taking care of our immune system. And immune is it's a wonderful, and I talk about this too with me and I have an identical twin sister.
Okay.
And she and I and her husband went on a trip, last year to Europe. And of course, I was very faithful with my immune, and so was my brother-in-law. And my sister was not, and she got sick. And you might say, was that just a coincidence or whatever? But then we all went on another trip together, and I was not very faithful, because life or whatever, I was traveling and I didn't bring it or something happened. And she was, and so was he, and I'm the one that did get sick. So, and I don't, and you're right, it's not just trying to prevent yourself from getting sick, but it's really protecting yourself, right? And especially if you travel, like those of us that do, we want to protect ourselves from things, but just from everyday pollutants and assaults that we're faced with, right? So the immune is a super important product, and I'm again another fave. So, but what about, so we talked a lot about our inside health, right? And now let's talk about what comes forth on the outside, the skin, the health of our skincare system. And I know it too is really acting internally to help our our health from the inside out. So let's talk about that a minute, and how important is skincare and taking care of our skin to our longevity.
That's a great question. A lot of times when we think about skincare, we think about it being cosmetic only. I put on my skincare because I want to look good. I want to reduce my wrinkles. I have some age spots, some hyperpigmentation that's bothering me. And so I want to take my topical skincare system so I can look great. And that's important. And that's great. And that's powerful. The skin, though, is a window to all of the processes in the body, believe it or not. Like we say, the eyes are a window to the soul. The skin is a window to what's going on in the body. So if our skin is not healthy, if it's dull, if it's ashen, even the wrinkles, when we have wrinkles on our skin, that actually means that collagen production might not be as good as it could be. Now, there's a lot of other factors going on, but when our skin doesn't look as good, that actually means that we have work to do in the body. But the really cool thing, like you said, Dr. Linda, with the skin gut connection that we know about, isn't that cool? When we put something on our skin, it can actually cause a beneficial response in the gut microbiome. So we have the gut microbiome, right? All the bacteria that's in our gut, and that's great. But we have bacteria that's living on our skin, thousands of species of bacteria on our skin. And what we found is that the bacteria on our skin can talk with the bacteria in our gut, and there's crosstalk there, and they can actually work with each other to improve health of both of them. And then here at 3, one of the exciting things that we've been doing the last year or two is we've been studying the skin brain axis. So we've actually found that the skin And the molecules that we put on the skin can actually transmit a signal to the brain to improve health of the brain, to improve mood, to improve mindset, productivity, and and many other things. We've shown that when we put our Visage skincare system on, we can actually produce neurotransmitters, dopamine, serotonin, DHEA. And so what's really cool is that when we use our system, we're not only helping to support skin health from a cosmetic aspect, we're actually supporting brain health. And the brain, as we know, is a command center of the body. And so what's really cool is that when we put our Visage system on, we're actually supporting healthy aging because we're supporting health of the brain. Isn't that cool?
It's so cool. It's so exciting. I love that science. My work has been in neuroscience, my PhD, so
Yes.
right up my alley. But I just love all of the science behind our products. And it's what really, again, made me say yes to 3. And I just really appreciate the commitment that we have here. And thanks to you, Dr. Dan. And it's wonderful that, whatever theory might be correct, whether it's the nutrition deficiency theory or, the oxidative stress theory or the toxin theory or, inflammation theory, whatever any of those theories might be, and one or all or a combination, we know that we're covered, right? If we
Right.
really, are taking our products. So from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate everything you do. And I look forward to seeing you pretty soon in Salt Lake. So looking forward to the convention, all the exciting things that we have coming up there in a very short time. So thank you so much for being with us. And if you have any other closing comment about health span versus lifespan, and we'd really appreciate it. And we'll see you in Salt Lake.
Well, thank you, Dr. Linda. It's so great geeking out on science with you, and great to be with all of you who are watching this call. For me, we've talked a lot about health span and lifespan and the different theories of aging, and that's fun and that's all fine and good. But we need to keep it simple, right? The things that we've
Yes,
talked about are just tools to help you. But the most important thing is to take the products, to feel the difference of the products, and then to just simply share the products with others. I think sometimes we make it too complicated. And
exactly.
Daniel and I, we've been talking a lot about that, and I know our other medical professionals here at 3 have been talking about that. But we just need to continue to preach simplicity. So I hope some of this information has been helpful to you, that, hopefully some of this has resonated with you. But if not, my invitation, my call to action to you is to take the products. If you haven't been taking all the products, start taking them. If you've taken 3 out of the 6 nutritionals, start taking the other 3. If you're, maybe 50% faithful on taking the products, let's start working to get to 70, 75, 90. And we want to get to 100% where we're taking all these products every single day, because when we do that, we're going to see a huge impact in all areas of human health, but especially with aging and longevity. Because really, when it all comes down to it, like we talked about earlier, we want to live a happy, fulfilled, powerful life. We want to have energy. We want to look good. We want to feel good. And all of those are basically summed up in the aging process. We want to age gracefully and we want to age well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye bye.